Välkomna. I haven't prepared this much for this talk either, but I just know I will ask you a few questions about how you became the kind of artist that you are, liking working in this miniature, this format. Så jag kommer ställa lite frågor som handlar om varför ni började just i detta formatet. You were telling us all today, I just heard it, one sentence, jag hörde en mening idag, det var att you said that you were intrigued by small things as a child also. Mm-hmm. Could you tell me more about that?
I grew up in on a farm, a very rural community, and I don't know if you have them over here, we had horticultural shows. In the summer, all the villages and some of the towns have these horticultural shows, and my sister and I would enter the children's sections, and it might say things like make an animal out of vegetables, or make a flower arrangement in an unusual container. So I think that's how it started, really. Like, I remember doing a flower arrangement in a recorder, so finding tiny little flowers and putting them in all the little holes in a recorder. And there was often create a miniature garden. So my sister and I just loved creating these miniature gardens and going around my grandmother's garden to see what would work on a tiny scale.
So just let me translate.
Yeah.
Hon började med blomstershower, hon och hennes syster. Att de gick dit och de tyckte det var roligt att gå in och där man kunde göra små trädgårdar. Bygga små världar små trädgårdsvärldar. Att karva i olika grönsaker och tyckte om det formatet. Det lilla formatet på trädgårdsdagar.
Yeah, so I think that's how it started, really. Yeah, I liked, maybe, I don't know if like the farm was quite big, and sort of I just liked homing in on and concentrating on a really small area and on detail. Yeah.
Ja, eftersom gården var så stor så tyckte hon om att jobba i det lilla formatet för att fokusera och koncentrera sig.
Sort of like entering another little world on a small scale.
Yeah. Och Lennart, hur har det varit för dig? Har du alltid gillat det lilla formatet, eller hur kommer det sig att du jobbar som du gör?
Ja, egentligen, I began when I saw my sight was very worse, and I have always been carving animals, horses, reindeers, mooses, but now I wanted to try to make a small one, deer buck with horn, 12 millimeter, and I carved it out without glasses. After that I had to go to the optiker and fix glasses. But I have also worked on a wharf when I was learning. So there was a wharf outside Göteborg. They build sailing boats, and they also build models of all the ships, the vessels from Götaverken, Lindholmen, or Eriksberg. They offered to this small wharf. So I made small things. And once we got an order for the new Kungsholm ship between Sweden and England. So 12 models, and I should make the lifeboats. There were 3 sizes: a rowing boat, a bigger rowing boat with a jet, and a motor lifeboat. And several hundred. I had a drawing, I had a measure, and I worked with it, and I leave it to the chief, and he has a micrometer measure, and lots of the boats were okay, but I have to do more and more and more. At least I got everyone ready, and we make even models of all the things on a vessel. Kapstan, nakterhus, jag vet inte vad det heter på engelska, det är något liknande.
Different parts of boats.
Ankarspel med the machine he's up ankaret, anchors, and lots of wheels in this small one. And we also made a model of the biggest wharf, Götaverken. It stands on Sjöfartsmuseet. And I have to make small cranes, junk magnet crane for junk.
Like a crane,
Yes,
like to pick up the junk, the metal.
Welding with I have to make the brass thread square and fix it up and fix to weld. And I have to not hold the tool too long. It heated and everything was melted. So it was very good for trying all this. And we made all these cranes. And
so this must have been inspiration for
Yes.
your free work. I mean, this was work for
yes,
you.
I discovered a new word for me. I made lots of big things, houses and timber work and so on. But I think it's very important to use all my abilities, all my fingers. I think the finger is prolonged brain. Mine. So I have to have it in good tree.
Is that something you think about also, that you're connected with your hands and your brain, that you like this focus?
Yeah, quite meditative really. Yeah, I quite like working late at night as well. I just feel like when the phone isn't ringing and the emails aren't coming and everything just, it goes dark outside and quietens down, and that I can just really focus then and go into the flow state, I suppose. Yeah.
You were telling us today you had a workshop today and in your miniatures, and you were telling us about that you had you were very inspired by this knick-knack shop.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about the hon brukade gå på en affär där de sålde lite så här småskrot och små grejer och lite second hand butik liksom.
Yeah, so the course I did at Art College was design crafts, but whereas some crafts courses in England anyway, you'd go around different departments and learn about the different materials. With this course you were asked to really think about what it was you were passionate about that could be your theme throughout the course. So my passion at the time was for junk shops, and it was one in particular called Scudder's Emporium in Devon, and it had about 10 rooms with stuff piled high, just old gardening tools, records.
Allt ifrån trädgårdsgrejer till
Paradise.
Yeah, you never knew. I remember there was a stuffed armadillo with a top hat on next to a 1950s radio, and you just really bizarre little combinations of things.
Yeah.
So I started making little items as if they were little junk shop scenarios. So, like, for example, the suitcases.
Oh, I bring the suitcases so we have a look at that.
Could I
Yeah, please, yeah. So that's one of the first things I made.
Is it a hat box?
It's it was a collar box, but my
Collar box.
scale's pretty out here.
Collar box,
So yeah, for collars, yeah.
for the priest.
So I think I was drawn to textile type items in the junk shop, and then I was saying this morning about halfway through the first year, so I used to go back and take photos in the junk shop and then go back to art school and make my little records and different things. Didn't really know where I was going with it. And then halfway through my first year, my mum rang and said she had some really bad news and that the junk shop had completely burnt down.
Det brann ner, hela stället brann ner. Hennes mamma ringde och berättade detta.
It had dodgy electrical wiring, and I mean, every time you went in there, you felt like the whole place could fall in on you. So I looked around for other junk shops, but I couldn't find any others that
must have
excited
been like
me.
a big inspiration that sort of got lost.
So I didn't really know what I was going to do then. Everything else, other junk shops, everything just felt very ordered, not enough stuff in them. And then I bought a long pair of evening gloves from a junk shop with tiny little wrists, and they'd been mended. And I started to think about who would have worn these gloves, what occasion they would have been worn.
En slags långa, väldigt smala handskar. Som hon undrade vem det var som hade ägt dem. De var söndriga och vem hade slitit på dem och så.
And so I made a little small version of the gloves, and I used to present them with little labels suggestive of who might have worn them and what occasion.
Hon liksom la till en liten historia när hon gjorde dem i förminskad storlek om vem som kunde ha burit dem och vem den här personen var.
And then
påhittad.
Then it went into gloves and shoes, and then it became more about costume and historical costume. And then over the time, the labels have become more and more important, and the story behind the objects and little clues within. So whether it's Victorian florography, flower symbolism, and so there's more of a story behind the pieces now.
Tänker mycket på historien så. One thing I really want to do is to see the size of your hands. Really, I mean, you work in a small scale, both of you. Please, can I just see your hands?
First, I will have
I would love to
a little history.
Yes,
I have an
please.
exhibition in Årgäng in Värmland, and I was standing behind two men. They were speaking about the things they saw, and suddenly the one says to the other, "And I have seen his hands, so I have to hide him." So,
But could you just hold them up just to see the different size? I think this is really, huh? And you still, I bring something of yours also, Lennart, so we can. That you work in a scale that is just insane.
Yeah. Makes my cases look very clumsy.
So I would really, let me see, I bring one of your tiny shoes also, so we are in the same size region. Or
gå inte för fort och blåser dem av.
ja, visst.
Now we're in the same size.
They are too big for.
Yes, yeah, they are way too big.
But something that's really intriguing is you also, both of you, to do miniatures, you have to be extremely focused.
Yes.
Is this must be a very big part of the process?
Yes, and passion.
Passion.
Are there certain days when you just can't get that focus, or do you start and then it comes? Or?
It's like I think piano player. You have to mjuk up.
To soften up? Or?
Yes. I have damaged several mooses, their horns, when I cover them with emballage. I'm not ready then. I haven't trained and get the right feeling in my hands. So it's not. But I have to. Training. Be
to
soft
be
and.
Is that something you sort of like work with your hands to keep them doing, accepting your commands?
Yeah, I guess, yeah. And I find that if you get into a rhythm, with stitching in particular, so like if I'm in that rhythm and I put it down, I go back to it, you can see where I've broken off and gone away and then come back.
Hon kommer in i en rytm och så ser man om hon släpper den rytmen och går ifrån och börjar igen, så ser man var hon har börjat igen då.
Yeah. So yeah, you can tell that's where she's left and started the next day.
So, and how does it feel when you work in this? I mean, every stitch, every carving is very, very important because they're so small. Do you plan every stitch and every carving when it's? I mean, have you seen the size of these things? I mean, it's like, have you seen the size of the legs? It's just. Because you know that it's carved from one piece. He cuts everything off. It's not standing on top of the piece of wood. This is so the focus and putting the stitch or the carving in the right place must be.
Yes. Several tried to get, and it's very important to have very sharp. More than vad heter det? Surgery sharpness. To when I put the knife to it, it must carve. I can't take any power, then I will break.
It must be like butter, nästan som att skära i smör.
Ja.
Ja, så skarpa.
See, I'm lucky in that because I can unpick my stitches, but you can't undo your.
Hon kan liksom sprätta upp om hon syr fel. Unless it's in the leather.
Yeah.
It's a little bit.
Yeah, it can obviously leave. There was split or leave marks, but yeah, it's a bit. There's a lot of unpicking happens.
I have more pieces of wood.
That's good. Yeah. So, I mean, an average, when you work with miniatures, is there many pieces that are completely broken? I mean, for you, for instance, or do you pick, or is every piece a success?
Well,
I can understand if you chop a leg off, but how does it work with you?
I think often, well, there is that pressure to not go wrong, because if you've invested a lot of time in it already, to make it work. But often I'll think this isn't working, and I might leave something for. Once I left I was making a dress piece, and I left it for 4 years, and then went back to it, and then had a bit more knowledge and managed to work out how to get it to work. But but there are pieces, I suppose, that I leave and don't end up getting finished.
It's hon berättade att ibland får man lämna. Hon lämnade till exempel en klänning hon höll på med. Den lämnade hon i 4 år innan hon sydde på den igen.
Yes, I recognize that.
Yeah, exactly, you reckon, because you were talking about that before, that you have to leave the work sometimes.
But I have lots of, I call it cadaver.
Carcasses.
So, but once I got a Swedish worked in Switzerland would give his customer some presents, gifts. So he asked if I could do moose bulls, and he wanted 10. Oh, I will try, I said. I gave him the price, and so I started to carve. And I carve and carve, worked very hard, and the day after I looked up at them, I saw they were tiny, no proportion. I said, it doesn't go. We have to leave it. I can't do it in that
10
way.
of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So every piece must have its time, and I must come back several days after and look at it, so it has to say the right shape.
Mm. Mm. And I was thinking also, we were talking before about material, and today I also noticed that you have so much material.
Mm-hmm.
And so material, when you work in a small scale, must be very important that you actually use the right material. You were talking about the trees that you use.
Yes.
And you were talking about, with a passion, you were talking about paper today.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
And the material and the feeling in my hand when I take it is very important.
Mm. Yeah. And how do you approach material?
Yeah.
What happens with you when you get the material you want?
So I've got a good stash, and people send me, so I use a lot of old gloves that have got a nice kind of fineness and sort of crispness that the new leather is often too soft for me to work with. So I've got a stash, and then when I've got a piece in mind, I know exactly in my stash what I'm looking for. But yeah, it's that fineness, and a piece. So I wouldn't cut up any nice old gloves. So they have to be odd ones or ones that are already damaged. But so damaged a little bit, but not too much, so that I can use the leather. So you just know when it's the right piece of material, the right piece of leather to work with. Yeah.
And also the tools that you're using. I mean, you were showing us the needles that you use for your fine stitching. Hon visade nålar idag som var...
My mother was sewing, and he called it silleben.
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 Like fish bone. I mean, the kind of bones, the smallest fish bones.
Yeah.
Silleben. And the material, I mean, the small needles that you're using.
Yeah.
And what other are the special kinds of tools that you would use? I mean, for your work.
Yeah. Well, mostly it's just like these small quilting needles, the smallest ones I can get. I keep always on the lookout just in case they do make smaller ones. And then I use fine gossamer silk thread a lot, and just a fine pair of scissors. That's mainly all my equipment, really. And then materials-wise, though, I've been stitching a lot with hair lately.
How does that work?
Yeah.
I mean, to do with hair.
Well, it's really quite strong, mostly. So as long as it's long enough. And
Jobbar med hår, hon syr ju i hår och det är det hon...
yeah, it's quite nice to work with. Yeah, I mean, it's quite interesting, different people's hair and the different textures of hair as well, and the different colours and how that looks. But yeah, it's nice material to work with.
I heard that you asked somebody if you could have some of their blonde hair.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you needed it for a stitch.
To show up, yeah.
Exactly.
So when I made the shoes for the Bronte parsonage, and I made it I wanted it to be as if it was made from the hair of the Bronte siblings, you know, Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte.
Hon ville ha hår som var från det museet där de här systrarna...
Just det du berättade.
Jag berättade innan där med systrarna, så att det kunde vara de här systrarna. Det kunde i tanken vara...
Den lever vidare.
Ja,
reinkarnation.
Ja, precis. Exactly. From the people living working there.
So because I couldn't use the actual Bronte's hair, I used the hair of the staff from the Bronte Parsonage Museum. But they sent me these lovely locks of... I meant for them to just gather it off of a hairbrush when I asked for some, but they sent me these lovely locks of hair, and I thought, that looks like they've cut it off on purpose.
Oh, and like from somebody with long hair. Oh.
So apparently one lunchtime they'd all got together and like ceremoniously cut these bits of hair off for me to use.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
So, but I needed some silver hair or blonde hair to show up on the black fabric, so I kept asking, any staff with blonde hair? And I ended up having to use a bit of my mum's.
Your mum's hair?
Yeah. She'd send it in little envelopes and then keep saying, how much more do you need? Because
hon fick mammas hår för att hon kunde inte hitta rätt färg, så hon fick mamman till att skicka till henne.
Ja.
Varför inte?
Ja. Another things I think of, it's the smell from the material. When I work in leather, it's very, very good, I think. Very good. The feeling and the smell, and even these pieces of wood have its own smell. It's inspired me.
Is there any questions? I mean, please join. I mean, this is supposed to be a relaxed talk, but I'm so interested in I have so many questions. Does anybody else work in this scale? Have you tried to work in this miniature scale?
Maybe
You have?
As a child.
As a child, what did you do? Like what kind of?
I made like a rabbit doll's house.
Oh.
And they are not really that small, but for example, the rabbits, they are maybe like this big, and the babies are this big. They also had a doll's house, and the doll in that house, that was really tiny. But
So you have different scales like that.
Yeah.
Oh.
But that was as a child, and not as like delicate. I mean, it's more small but more rough. But I can recognize myself in the being in your own world. It's like the world is this big, and you're right in the middle of it. And it's a fantastic feeling. I keep looking for that. Nowadays.
That feeling.
To be so much like for yourself and in that small world, and it's not easy to find, I think.
That kind of focus.
I think there's a bit of an element of this feels manageable. I can manage this little.
Man kan klara av den här situationen, att den är i storleken. Exactly.
Because if it was bigger, I'd still want to. It's the detail that interests me. So, time-wise and focus-wise, and it feels manageable.
Maybe the small scales also can help you to fantasize easier.
Yeah.
You go into this fantasy world easier when it's tiny.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I think so.
Yeah. Like today, we were all making. It's really interesting. With in your workshop, there was a workshop today, and or two workshops actually. We will talk about, and we got to choose which size to go, and Serena had prepared so we could do gloves or shoes in all different sizes, and some of us that needed a little bit that couldn't focus that much. I'm one of them. I needed to make a little bit of a bigger shoe, and then there was this guy, Felix, that really he just immediately said, "I want to make the smallest one." He just, I'm doing the smallest one, and he made a shoe so nice, so tiny. På hennes workshop idag, det var en kille, han gjorde en sko som han var bara så här direkt. Två skor gjorde han.
He needed a pair.
And his wife, he needed a pair, and his wife, she made a little bit of a bigger shoe, and but she was also talking more than him. He was more quiet.
Yeah, focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, and that's never happened before, where someone's gone straight in and worked on that, the smallest.
And he
scale.
did. He did it really well as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
And interestingly, he said he usually works on a really big scale.
That's
really
true.
large. Yeah, with wood and metal. So.
Han jobbade i extremt stora skalor, den här killen vanligtvis.
Ja.
Så det kanske var lite spännande att gå in i det här lilla
Ja.
formatet då. Ja.
Jag vet inte. I don't know if you are destinerad till att to do small things or big things. I think we can, but it's training. Training and focusing and within the brain you decide to do this, and I do. I make big things, small things. It's just a decision within here, I think.
Yeah.
Most people, not all.
Yeah. But for instance, if we look at your animals, your different creatures, I mean, you have a lot of knowledge about the animals also, because it's you can tell that you probably have been hunting, or at least
hunting and jag kanske inte ska prata om sånt.
No, let's not talk about too violent stuff.
I'm very interested when I carve in the bones and feel the muscles and.
After you've been hunting, you really.
Yes.
When you cut. Anatomy of the animal. Yeah.
Styckning kallar vi det för.
Yeah. I would like to say dissecting, but it's not. When you cut animal after hunting it. Yeah. Butchering. Thank you.
Butcher's work. Yes.
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 Then you. This is one way to find out how to.
Yes. It's important. The edge, the moose is very difficult in the anatomy. He's not fixed in his bone. It's only muscles and senor. Vad heter det? Senor.
Tendencies. Tendons.
And it makes it possible for him to run in up and down and keep as a gyro the body.
Yeah, it's true that you just move the legs.
Ja visst, benen
So they're interested on the inside also.
Yes, very interesting. And it's very good. The part here, filén, and a good wine.
What to eat with a good wine. But I like this piece because it's got these two colors.
Yes.
That it's really dark in the middle like that.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
And the older the tree will be, the more dark or the area.
Yeah.
But it's very tight and hard people. It's wood.
So what kind of wood is that?
Plums. Plommon. Plum. Plumwood.
Huh.